It was interesting when they were practicing this morning. I came in, our beautiful InSpirit band, and when Kirk had mentioned, I think we'll do It's Not So Easy Being Green this Sunday, I went, really? I remember watching Sesame Street, but so I watched Kermit from 1970 as he's walking through the forest, not feeling so good about himself. I'm just so ordinary like everybody else. And you know, his little face is just so adorable, but he was really lamenting over his green coloration, and he wasn't so happy. But there was a time when, boom, his consciousness awakened. And you could see he went, oh, there's so much more that I'm not realizing about who I am. And he looks down at his greenness and he goes, it's beautiful. That's what I want for each and every one of us. To recognize and know, yes, we wear the colors to know there's a unity. We're all made of the same stuff, but we're unique expressions of this stuff of life. Now, the title of this Adventure in Spirit is this thing called life. Now, let me talk to you for a minute about this thing called life, what life is. Ernest Holmes, and we'll talk about this in our study groups, talks about life being God, but we know there's many, many, many names for this animating force, life force. God, reality, universal intelligence, as Dave said, wholeness, and all of the beautiful things Susan talked about this morning, shared with us. This is what life is. It's this huge animating principle that is both universal, it's everything, it's the stars, the universe, everything, and it's personal as us. And we get to choose how we use this amazing thing we call life. Aren't you just like, oh wow, that is so cool? We get to choose how we use it. And it is all that we said. It's the wholeness. It's the perfection. This life is this universal wholeness, which interestingly enough, Dave talked about as the first thing in life that I wrote down, which means we have within us all that life is. God, that animating life force, that animating principle, when in its creation, creating from the invisible form, poured itself into each and every one of us. So we carry that goodness, that beauty, that truth, that wisdom. I think my dear friend Rumi said, I have a mirror inside of me that reflects the wholeness of the universe. That's what we have in us. That spark, that goodness, that principle of life. It is the power of God and the power of good. Now the tricky thing is, it's in there. It's in there. But it's not just enough to know it's in there. We need to use it, to realize it, to awaken it. We can't just be, oh, I know that I'm made in the image and likeness of good, of God, of love, of wonder, of joy, of harmony, of peace, and all of that. I've got to be living it. We have to awaken that stuff that's already in there because it's just there until we realize it. When my dear friend Rumi said, the breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. The door is wide and open. Don't go back to sleep. Now I've got to tell you something. This life force that is all the power, the goodness, the joy, the wonder, the beauty, and the truth is within us. But that door, it's not on the outside of the door, it's on the inside, waiting for us to express it. And he says, the door is wide and open, don't go back to sleep. People are continually going across the doorsill of the two worlds. You can't go back to sleep. I believe our whole realization of being here in this world at this time, having the precious gift of being a human right now is that we get to merge these two worlds. Our human world, which is full of this spectrum of opposites, have you noticed? Good, bad, right, wrong, black, white, yes, no, all of that. We get to merge that with the pure spirit. We know there's really only one, but there's different expressions. Does anybody right now feel a little bit full of chaos? A little bit? Well, guess what? That beautiful German philosopher Nietzsche said, "You must have chaos within to give birth to a dancing star." So we're on the right track. Oh, thank goodness, because sometimes it's hard to know. We have this thing we call free will, and we have the free will to stay in this human condition, which we might call prison, this box of isolation, which has fear and anxiety and hatred and anger. We can stay there, or we can free ourselves. But what's the trick? And this is what Ernest Holmes takes this teaching of Jesus, and this is the most important thing really in his teaching about this thing, this power for good. It's done unto you as you believe. If you believe in that you're trapped in a prison of isolation, of hopelessness, guess what? You're right. If you believe that you are a magnificent being, capable of amazing things, guess what? You're right. Because our beliefs are what really, our circumstances aren't really what create our lives. It's our belief about our circumstances. Two people can experience the same thing and have very, very different beliefs about the same thing. It is done unto us as we believe. Now, this is an awakening of consciousness that we're doing. And we're not just doing it as individuals, it's the whole world is waking up to a new consciousness, because this animating life force principle that we call the sleeping giant or the wizard or the shaman or the healer or the mystic that's inside each and every one of us is constantly, quietly urging us to grow and expand into a greater understanding about life. So Ernest Holmes, in his book, This Thing's Called Life, calls this kind of hidden animating principle the sleeping giant within that needs to be awakened into its potential, needs to be awakened into what it is. And so we need to be waking it up and become a partner. It's already a partner with us. We are co-creators of our life. We're co-creators of our life and the greater life. But if we realize we are actually in partnership with infinite spirit, we're partners. And this partner only wants one thing for us, and that's goodness. That's all. This sleeping giant, this magical, wondrous mystery inside of us only wants what's good and right and true for us. It wants to be an eternal guide, a high wisdom counselor to us, but we must use it. But because of our free will, we can also shut the door and stay limited. Is that what you want? This side does. This side's very happy where they are. Okay, I'm going to talk to you guys for a minute, because I can tell you're really happy right now. Just in your own little comfort zones, kind of being asleep, pretending you don't really know what's going on, but it's not true. We get it. We all want to wake up. There's a part of us that wants to grow. And well, let me give you a few ideas. When you wake up to this, there's a power inside of us that's greater than we can imagine. And that power is the power that activates within our mind and our heart that our words are creative, that what we think, what we believe, we can create all the time. That power is telling us that that's the possibility. And this healing energy, this sleeping giant is a healing presence. And I'm going to tell you what Ernest Holmes says about this healing presence, because I think this is really important for us. And I know this is what we're learning in practitioner training. You must believe there is a healing presence in you and in everyone. It doesn't belong to some people and not others. It belongs to everyone. Then you must speak your word. And I want you to feel this because, okay, I believe, I really do believe, I believe. There's a healing presence of power within me. Then speak your word in such a way that this healing presence flows through your word. That's what we teach. That's what we learn. That's what we practice. It's in all of us. It has to be awakened. Use your word as a healing presence. Your word must be definite, conscious, and concrete. This brings the invisible into form. Ernest goes on to say, life is. It is natural goodness and kindness. It is peace, joy, and wholeness. Peace, joy, and wholeness, it's already there. It's not something we have to go out and seek. It's there. Life flows through me. That's an affirmation for all of us to say, life flows through me. This life is in everyone and everywhere. Therefore, I am one with it and one with all people. Now, so this sleeping giant that is there that only wants our good is a friend. It's there for us. It wants us to be happy, well, and radiant. I want you to answer this question in your own self. How different would your life be right now if you knew without question that the universe has your back? How would you be living differently? If you knew the universe, life is for you and not against you. And I know. You're going, well, look at the world. Look at all this. Look at all this anger and upset and division and all these problems. All part of this. This part of you knows there are no opposites. There are different spectrums of one thing, but there really are in the pure spirit. There's nothing against anything. It's a different use of the energy. And when I get wrapped up in getting caught up in different things or seeing people that are suffering or things that are going on I don't understand, I go back to one of my spiritual teachers, Pema Chodron, and she teaches this very simple practice we did when I was up with our daughter in Berkeley at one of her workshops. She did the Tonglen practice, which is a Buddhist practice, where you can look at the world where there is suffering in the world. We can't say God is good, there is no suffering. There is suffering in this world. It's how we learn, it's how we grow, it's part of the experience. You look at the suffering in the world, you can breathe it in, don't breathe it in, but breathe it in and breathe out peace. So it's taking in a problem and transmuting it, dissolving it, transforming it into something greater. I'd like you right in your own life right now. I'd like you to look in your life, and it can be something personally that you're feeling right now. It can be something in a relationship you're having. It can be a problem in a greater community you're having. It can be something you see in the world. And I just invite you just for one moment, just close your eyes. Just practice this with me. I want you to know that we are a healing presence. All of us, each of us have a healing presence in us. There's nothing secret we do about this except knowing that we have the power to change, dissolve the energy for good. So breathe in any hurt or pain or problem that you see, not taking it in, just breathe it in. And breathe out love. Breathe out peace. Breathe out healing. Breathe out light. Breathe out whatever it is that you want to bring a greater expression to. Because this silent partner, this friend we call God and goodness and love, it will take any problem we have, any burden we have, and dissolve it in that same way. If we have the faith and believe in it, it will do that for us now. I think this upward spiral that I was talking about, this push to something more, is pushing us all into a unity consciousness. It does not mean we have to think alike or be the same. That would be boring. Not a good thing. It means unity consciousness simply understands that we can see the God and goodness in everyone and everything. This is a very short quote that Ernest says that I think it really says it all, and it's just 2 short lines. He says, "There is one mind. When I am awakened, I can see God in your eyes." Doesn't mean I believe everything you say, or I like everything you do, or I maybe really don't like the clothes you're wearing. But that doesn't mean, it means I see the God in you. I understand that you are the same as me. This unity consciousness recognizes that we're all made of the same stuff in different disguises. But it really boils down just to one word. And I talk about it all the time. But it's like the most important thing to me. And that word is love. That's where we go. The word is love. We have to start with loving ourselves first, of course. Loving God, and then we can love each other from afar, together, whatever it is. We can be there. Even if we have that chaos and upset inside of us, we can know that we are in the process of giving birth to something amazing, a dancing star, something wonderful right here and right now. So as we leave today, and I'm hoping you'll stay after and talk in depth, we have a wonderful curriculum with really juicy things to talk about. But I want you to think of a belief in your life right now that you could change to a higher expression of life, to be closer to love and unity. A belief that in yourself that makes you more magnificent than being so tired of being green, but being something wonderful. Change your belief and then practice your faith in it. And how do you do that? You get some spiritual principles to practice every day, whether they be spiritual reading, they be affirmations, they be prayer treatment, they be talking to friends, they be being in nature, but practicing seeing God everywhere. And now I'm just going to invite you as we just hold in the consciousness of being together in a unified group. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes as we pray, as we close this first Sunday right now, in a prayer for the unity consciousness, a prayer that we awaken that power within us to something greater. May we simply know together right here, right now, that there is only one mind, and that is the mind of God. And that mind of God that is all powerful, all loving, all harmonious, all perfect, whole, and complete, is inside each and every one of us, that we have that spark of goodness that's ready to be magnified, that's ready to be expressed, that's ready to be shared in a unique and powerful way. And we can know in this moment that this thing we call life, God, love, goodness, whatever that is, this thing called life is like the sun in this moment. It shines on everyone. It will dispel darkness as we open our eyes and see the light of goodness, of love, of appreciation. And I just truly know right now that for each one of us, that we take this time to step out of the shadow of limitation, out of the shadow of separation, and we open ourselves and to stand in the light of oneness, to stand in that unity of knowing that life is inherently good, and so are we. And so are we. And if you have someone next to you, will you just use that healing presence, that power for good, that light, and just squeeze their hand? Because let me tell you, a little touch, a smile is a universal language that can just tell ourselves and each other that we matter. We are here for a reason, that life is good even though it may not seem so right now. There's a power and a presence within each of us guiding us towards unity, towards love, towards oneness, to possibility. And let's just say in that right together now, thank you, God, and so it is.
Thank you, God, and so it is.
My goodness, you've awakened the giants. They're all here. Give yourselves a hand. It's beautiful. God bless each and every one of you. You know how much I love you all, and I'm so glad we're on this journey together. Thank you, thank you, thank you.